Tuperos y tuperas! Today on Dupe by the River, your Philadelphia Union, in fact, made history last Wednesday. That, in fact, happened in Costa Rica. Today, we're going to look back at what happened in San Jose, Costa Rica. We're going to also look ahead at tomorrow evening. It's a big night in Philadelphia Union soccer. We're also going to look at all the other CCL matchup. We're all CCL up here on today's episode of Dupe by the River. And don't go anywhere, guys. You do not want to miss this episode of Dupe by the River. And let's get this started. Hey, got it! All right, it kept going today. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome everyone to Dupe by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Real quick, we just want to say hello to everyone tuning in today, whether you're coming from YouTube, Twitter, Twitch, no TikTok today, but welcome everyone to Dupe by the River. Can't wait to get started here today. Before we dive in, of course, guys, got to introduce to you guys my panel of my Union experts here. First up, today he's going by Bald against Ricardo Blanco, aka Mr. Justin Freiberg. Justin, what's going on? You ready for today?
Absolutely. We got a surprising result to talk about, and we got another fun matchup to preview. So let's get to it.
Dude, you know, I'm so excited, man. We were together at the live stream. It was a lot of fun, but we have a lot to recap again before we talk about tomorrow. But definitely, man, I'm super excited. And of course, as well with us today, we have my man, Mr. Tim Lovinguth. What's going on, Tim? How are you doing today?
I'm good, man. That game last Wednesday was crazy. Got the early goal, then it got real CONCACAF-y at the end, which we're going to discuss. Oh, it was so much fun. Oh, I love it. Now, I'm excited to talk about real games now. Like, we get to talk about the real stuff. You know, MLS season is right around the corner, too. It's just a busy time. It's a fun time.
Great time to be a fan of the Philadelphia Union. That is for sure, man. It's great because obviously, you know, we have a lot of new MLS fans joining in on Dupe by the River and kind of explaining the term CONCACAF, this term that has been deemed upon in this tournament. Listen, it is freaking entertaining. You know this tournament is good when I have to contemplate whether or not I want to watch Portland and Marathon or the Phillies and the Mets game 2. But these games, all of them, have been pretty exciting, which we'll obviously get to in a little bit. But I'm excited to get started here today with my boys. And first off, man, we love ourselves some Ian Fitzmyer. This is why we love every episode. Ian is giving us prospects, and I don't even want to take credit for this. I want to tell the Philadelphia Union about Ian and just let him know, like, he's giving us good player. Like, Ernst, you should be hiring him for the scouting team, man. He'll travel wherever. You can believe him in Turkey, and he'll find you some talent out there. So definitely Philadelphia Union, if you're listening. Make sure to hit up Mr. Ian Fitzmyer. But speaking of the Philadelphia Union, guys, real quick, I just wanted to thank the Philadelphia Union and all the people that work up there. I was a part of the Media Mayhem for the second time. Obviously, last season. We actually got to do it. It was in January, so it was right before COVID started and everything. So we got it done this year. We were in suites. I got my first time being in a suite at Subaru Park. We had iHeartRadio, we had 93.8 WMMR, we had 97.5 The Fanatic. Obviously, our boys from Views from the Bridge, Paul Catrino was there representing from Views. We had Adam Booth from the Sons of Ben. Of course, Mr. Jonathan back. He's the man. He is a beast at this freaking game. My God. But obviously representing the brotherly game. It was so great seeing Ralph again. But your boy, unfortunately, didn't have the Cinderella story that he had a year ago. Last year, I had a surprising quarterfinal journey, which wound up in the hands of defeat to Jonathan, of course. This year, however, I got a little too ahead of myself. I made the mistake. My opponent, iHeartRadio, decided to choose PSG. Now, you guys know me. I'm a diehard Colombian soccer fan. My dummy self chose Montpellier, of course, because of Carlos El Pibe Valderrama. That's the only other French team I know besides PSG. And they scored 3 goals in a matter of 3 minutes, but I wound up getting 2 goals in that last minute, but it was just not enough as I fell. But I did my best to represent for Philly Sports Network, that is for sure. And of course, the other highlight was the semifinal matchup. Adam Booth of SOB going up against Mackay KC, of course, of the Philadelphia Union. Mackay was definitely you would expect Adam to be the home team, but Mackay wound up being the home team. A little favoritism was played upon Mr. Kevin Casey, but it was all fun and games. It's always fun. Jonathan was able to donate. I forget where he donated again, but it's been the same charity every year. But you know what? Really, it was great seeing everyone. Most importantly, obviously, tomorrow everyone here in this panel will be down in Chester. But it was good seeing like Matt. I haven't seen it forever. Paul, I see like once every month, honestly. but it's good seeing Adam. Good seeing everyone, especially like the people working for the union. Great people. But it was a great time. So definitely wanted to thank everyone for the media mayhem as well. I know I will practice. So next year PSN can hoist some sort of trophy for sure. All right. But before we dive into the legs, I wanted to kind of talk about the CCL. I mean, there was some pretty entertaining games. So what we're going to do right now, I'm going to go over the results, and then Tim and Justin are going to tell us their surprise from the first leg. So the first match was Marathon versus Portland, which wound up in a 2-2 draw. Atlanta United with 10 men also upsetted the other Costa Rican team. On Alajuelense, the two MLS teams facing the two Costa Rican teams, got the MLS teams got the upset, so you love to see it. Orake, I'm definitely butchering that one again.
It's all good.
Drew against Cruz Azul, which is pretty crazy, yes. Club Leon drew against TFC. Olimpia lost to Club 2-1. Columbus took care of business 4-0 against Real Estelí, and Monterrey took care of business against Atletico Pantoja, winning 3-0. Justin, what shocked you, my man? What shocked Justin? Not only your kit, but what shocked you from the first legs?
I'm 2 games out of the sort definitely shocked me. A lot of the results really didn't surprise me. I mean, the fact that all of the MLS clubs got favorable results, whether it was a draw or a win, wasn't as surprising. I mean, Crew beating up Estelli was pretty given. Union was a good result, a little bit of a surprise, but the two that really stood out to me was and I said this the last pod that it would be a bit of a romp, but Club Leon and Toronto. I'm not going to totally eat my words. It wasn't a pretty result, to be honest. But Toronto was able to gut it out, missing a lot of people. You know what? I'm not going to totally eat my words because I still don't think they'll be a great team this year. But it was a better result than I thought. The other result that really surprised me, and it's the 10 o'clock matchup tonight, was the Arca High and the Cruz Azul matchup. Cruz Azul going down to Dominican Republic and not scoring a goal.
Yeah,
it's massive. I mean, this club, if there's anyone's going to be a Cinderella story, it might be this team. If they can manage to score 1 goal tonight, or at the very least drive it to PKs, they might have a chance. Honestly, it really did shock me because I watched the first 20 minutes of that game, and it was like, oh wow, there might it was like both teams had chances. Cruz Azul obviously was allowed to have a lot of possession because Arca High definitely was springing more on the counter, but they held in. And I looked at the highlights. They were unlucky a little bit, but Cruz Azul definitely didn't have as many chances as they could have. So the fact that it's 0-0 going into the second leg is a bit of a shock, but I'm interested to see. They might be the dark horse.
Yeah,
absolutely, man. Absolutely. What about you, Tim?
I mean, Justin stole mine there again with Cruz Azul not getting a result. But I would have to say the other thing that shocked me the most was in the first leg was Atlanta United going down to Alajuelense and winning after getting a red card. You know, Brad Guzan, their goalkeeper, getting a red card, and then they hung in there and they found the goal. And I know it was controversial. Some people, you know, it was called a handball, but that it looked like it hit off the person's head. So kind of crazy there. But Atlanta were the winners. And Alajuelense, tough going in the second leg, which just finished up now too. So Atlanta are the first team through to the next round. So
that is definitely a surprise to me because, you know, we all remember what happened last year for Atlanta. But, I mean, Alajuelense, unlike Saprissa, like they were in form going into that match. And Atlanta United just was able to get a PK, and that's all it really took. They got a little, you know, didn't even matter the goal. But listen, that definitely was a surprise. Araque, I mean, the drawing to Cruz Azul, that definitely to me is a surprise. But as someone who does support Cruz Azul, man, this is such a Cruz Azul thing to do. really is. But listen, it was some entertaining stuff. And like I said, this tournament has been definitely catching my eye here. But for the leg twos, obviously, like we mentioned, Atlanta United is on to the next round after beating Alajuelense in Kennesaw, which is definitely interesting as well. The fact that they're still playing CCL in Kennesaw. Portland is about to, in a couple, actually, in any second now, they'll be kicking off in Portland, Oregon against Marathon. That's going to be at 8 o'clock. And then the late night game is going to be Cruz Azul and Araque. That one is this is going to be a game that we're all going to be interested in seeing. Yeah. Tomorrow, Toronto has got Leon in they're in Florida? They're going to play in Florida?
Florida.
They're going to play in Florida. Okay. They'll be playing in Florida. Club America on an Olympia at 8 o'clock alongside, of course, us in Saprissa. The Columbus Crew on Thursday will be facing off against Real Esteli in Columbus at 8 o'clock. And then the final game for this leg, Monterrey and Atletico Pantoja. Justin, what are you more intrigued by with these leg twos? What's that one game besides Saprissa you're just like, I gotta watch this?
I mean, well, I believe the Leon game. I'm gonna be on the road to the stadium, so I won't be able to watch that, and I won't be able to watch the Club America game.
Just put it on the aux, baby.
I don't. To be honest, outside of the Arca High game, I'm not sure there's one. I mean, I would be interested to see if Leon can get an away result to win it. But other than that, I'm not. There's not much that I feel like is going to pique my interest. A lot of the other ones are pretty. Cruz up 4-0 on Esteli. Monterrey, it's up 3-0. It feels like a lot of them other ones are set in stone.
Any of these pique your interest, Tim?
Honestly, not one game in particular, but the fact that MLS has a chance to get all 5 of their teams through to the quarterfinals.
That is ridiculous. That's crazy.
Ridiculous. I can't remember if it's ever happened before. I know they've had 4 in before, but I don't know if they've ever had 5. So the fact that all of these MLS clubs are either coming in, with the upper hand or, are tied on aggregate score after being away is huge. So we could see 5 teams from MLS in the quarterfinals. That's crazy.
Right. I definitely will say, I know the history with the MLS is kind of why I had a little less optimism, but I felt like if there was going to be a year the MLS would somehow win this tournament or actually be successful in this tournament, it would be this one because it's been such a weird year. I've been watching it in other sports too. It's such a weird year, and this could be the one year where an MLS team could actually win it. Now, obviously, we still got a lot of work to do for all of these MLS clubs, but I mean, like you said, we have a potential here of all 5 teams advancing on to the next round. That hasn't happened in a definitely a long time.
Wait, all right. 5 or 4?
There's 5. So there's
Atlanta, Portland, Toronto, Philly, and Columbus.
Oh,
Cinco, senor.
Hey, listen. Philadelphia Union Club World Cup. They'll be facing Bayern next year. You never know. Hey. Speaking into reality, right?
You would literally have to pinch me for that one, man. Because I that one, I don't even want to get there.
Actually, wait. Considering that Bayern got eliminated, Union PSG have Andre Blake stoning Mbappe on a one-on-one. Just saying.
Can you imagine?
Paxton Aronson Megs the keeper to win.
Oh my God!
I'm so here for this. That is freaking awesome. As Portland and Marathon are underway, and I will say,
I guess Portland. Yeah, every team's starting to get some fans.
I will say, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate Kata sending all his 60K followers over here. I appreciate that. But yeah, so obviously, look, we are loving the CCL, but we're here for one reason only. That is the Philadelphia Union last week, I should say, man, it was something spectacular. I mean, I posted the video of me celebrating the goal, me blowing out Justin,
blowing out my eardrums. I mean, my God.
I was literally too excited. I'm so sorry, guys. But actually, Portland's got a good amount of people in there in the stands. I just checked that out, man.
Yeah.
We'll see what tomorrow looks like. But no. So look, last week it was definitely a special game, and we'll talk about it in a little bit. But I think that the last week's victory goes up there in Union history. But when we talk about this game between the Union and Saprissa, like I think a lot of us weren't as optimistic as other matches for the Philadelphia Union, just considering the fact that what we just mentioned, like just the MLS's history in this tournament, the Union being here in the first time, and obviously we know our history, like we're realistic. This is Philly sports, right? But the Union went in there and right off the bat, we talked about it, Justin. Like it felt like they belonged there. Like it didn't feel like a rookie team. Just trying to scrape by. Like, no, the Union looked like they belonged there. And obviously the 34th minute is what changed all of our lives as Union fans, as Olivier Bizo working that flank, man. He was working that flank. We're going to talk about him, man. But with the nice little cross in and Casper able to head in that ball, and that was really the difference. The second half, obviously Saprissa, a little frustration. They're kind of in a bad spot right now, as they are, I believe, now 9-game winless. They were 8 games after that.
I believe they had to draw the last game.
Yeah,
they drew in their Costa Rican competition. But yeah, so tomorrow, if they don't win, that's 10 games. They haven't won a game. So let's hope that we keep that going, right? But it ended in a CONCACAF way, as Tim alluded to, which we'll also get to in a second. But on this day, Jim went with an interesting lineup. We saw some things that were definitely surprised us. Obviously, in goal, no surprise there. Andre Blake, the back line, again, no surprises with Kai Wagner, Jack Elliott, Jakob Glazes, and Olivier Bizo. The midfield is where we would see a little bit of a surprise. Leon Flack made his Union debut as a left shuttle midfielder, with Jose Brujo Martinez as the 6, Ali at that right shuttle midfielder, and Jamiro Montero back at the 10 role, a role we saw him play quite a bit back in 2019. And then that left your forwards with Kasper Shabilko and Anthony Fontana. All right, before we get into the whole game there, but I wanted to start off with the thoughts. Tim, start off with you. Your thoughts on that Kasper Shabilko lone goal, man?
Yeah, it was kind of out of nothing. And the Union have shown that they can sort of create these types of goals over the last year or so. But essentially, you look back at how that play started, and it was just a ball that was cleared from the back line up, and they were just trying to relieve pressure and hope something happened. And somehow, Ali Bedoya, who isn't very tall, won a header over a center back. He laid it off. Anthony Fontana was there, and he was able to pick his head up, and he saw that Bizo was making that run down the right side. Played a perfect ball to him, and then Bizo picks his head up, hits it first time. Kasper is the right place, right time, perfect finish off the head. Kind of a bang play, and the Union are up, away at Saprissa 30-some minutes in. Crazy sequence there, but I think the reason that the Union are able to do this now is just that belief. Years past, they really didn't have that belief that we're just going to clear our lines. Like we're not going to win that first header, so why are we even trying to win the first header? No, Ale Bedoya comes in. He finds himself in the middle of the field for some reason going up against the center back. I don't remember if it was Waston or not, but he went up for it, won that header, and then the rest was, a quick, easy pass out wide, and then the right back knows what to do, puts in a perfect cross to a striker whose job is to finish the ball. So, hey, that's the new Union style of play. They create attacks out of nothing, it seems like. And yeah, I mean, there's a whole lot more to talk about the game and the way that the Union really dominated the game. But the fact that they got their goal off of almost nothing was crazy.
I will say I do want to mention, because that is one thing I did notice, especially on that goal. I love Regatas. I love Regatas.
Oh, yeah.
But it was clear Olivier added a different dimension to this team, especially in the attack. Now you can attack from either side.
Mm-hmm.
We know Kai's dangerous from that, but Olivier showed me a little something. I was really excited about it. Justin, what about you, man? Like that goal, brother, man. After you were starting to get your hearing back.
Yeah, I mean, the plays leading. I mean, the first 25 minutes or so before the goal, definitely, you sensed that the Union were building towards something, but it felt like they were just a little bit off. And this play comes out of nowhere. I mean, you talked about it. You win a header. Fontana picks his head up, spots Bizo, and Bizo, without thinking, looks up before the ball comes to him, plays that ball. I mean, that ball could not have been hit any better.
Yep.
And Casper was, right spot in between the center backs. No chance anyone was getting to him because of how far the center backs were spaced. He's right in the middle. And that ball had just enough weight on it, floats perfectly. And he gets that big, meaty Polish forehead. And as our good buddy Alexis Guerrero would say, Flakata, right off that meaty forehead into the net. No chance for the goalie. And you're looking at that going, what? We talked about, 1-0, 1-1. It'd be great to get an away goal, and let's focus on getting back. And you're walking after that game going, oh my God, we just won. And the more I think about it, the more the Surprises, the way that they've been playing in their bad run of form, and this question got posed on the SOB pod, and it does make me wonder if Saprissa does not advance tomorrow night, do they fire their coach after that game? Because it's not just like, it's been a few games. No, this is going back a few months.
Yeah.
So you got to wonder, it's not been a great past, even Eddie says, it's not been a great past year for this club. So you got to wonder if, again, we'll talk about the incident, but things don't exactly seem to be getting all, aren't exactly super peachy for Surprise at the moment.
No, and tomorrow's not going to be it's not going to be easy at all for these guys. The thing is that we actually have the home field advantage. We're gonna have a good amount of fans in there that are gonna be roaring and rocking. We're gonna get to the events of the finale of this game, but tomorrow is gonna be rocking down in Chester. And you mentioned, that's a great point. These guys are in some hot waters down there in San Jose, Costa Rica, man. And you mentioned it, if they lose tomorrow or they don't win tomorrow, that'll be 10 games, 10 games winless. And from what I know, Saprissa is a big dog down in Costa Rica. That usually means you about to get axed, my G. You know what I mean? So I don't know how much longer this Saprissa team can keep rocking the way they are, but it definitely was great. But
the crazy thing about their coach though is that he just got hired right before the CCL draw. They had already fired a coach. They were the top team in Costa Rica, and they weren't performing well. They were getting outperformed by their rivals, Alajuelense, and they had already fired the coach. So this guy came in, and now he's inherited this awful situation, and he hasn't won any games in 9 games, and it's awful.
Well, isn't that like normal in the championship? Don't teams get like 5 managers in one season?
I mean, kinda. I think there's. I thought I saw something about a rule against that in Costa Rica, but who
Oh,
knows?
really? Okay. So they're just going to be stuck with Ron Myers. That's right name, right?
Yeah.
Ron Myers. Ron Myers, like that. Yeah, something like
that.
No, definitely talk. But obviously, everyone wants to talk about the ending, the injury minute time of the match. So obviously, I'm sure it went viral. I even put it up on my TikTok, and a couple of you guys are already talking about it in the comments here. It was like the 94th minute in injury time.
Actually, I think it was like the 91st. Like it was.
Okay.
Very
You're
early
right.
on stoppage time.
There was a lot of time kind of just dwindling away after the event. But Ricardo Blanco or Kai Wagner went to go get a ball that was loose ball that was going close to the sideline. And Kai Wagner was going after it. Ricardo Blanco didn't allow him to get it and kind of took a bad angle. And it was a slide tackle. Kai Wagner does like a whole like 360 flip in the air, fall. It was a hard fall. I wish I could show the play, but it was definitely a brutal looking play. I'm sure Tim he got animated as well. We were pretty animated on the live stream. But it was definitely a dirty play, and the controversy was the ref went straight for the yellow. Obviously there was no VAR. Didn't even contemplate it. He went straight yellow. And you're thinking to yourself like, wow, if this isn't the most CONCACAF thing ever, I don't even know. I even saw Atlanta United fans defending us. And all the MLS actually. I saw most people like, yo, Barcelo, I don't know how the hell that wasn't a red card. And I don't know either. But the fact of the matter is, Ricardo Blanco will be playing tomorrow. Or will he? There was hold on. But regardless,
he should be.
He's not one of the players that's not playing.
Okay, we'll get to what we're talking about in the leg too. But he will be here in Chester, Pennsylvania. And there's going to be a huge crowd of Union fans that are ready to throw, or not, I shouldn't say throw, especially after what we saw this past weekend with the Phillies. Yes. They're definitely going to have a couple things to speak upon when it comes to Ricardo Blanco. But Justin, I'll start off with you this time, man. Was it a red?
Yeah.
Was it a red?
100%. Without a doubt. And I'll preface it with saying, there were a lot of people, mostly Costa Rican soccer fans, who pointed to Matt Real's tackle. And before I get into the major differences, the two biggest things that I'll say why Real's tackle is not nearly as bad. So in that sequence, Casper gets fouled, or should have gotten fouled. He got fouled. Ref does not make a call. Casper, gets up and goes, what? Like it was a clear foul. There's no two ways about it. So play on. Then ball gets out wide, and Real comes in a little hot, but he was close enough where it was a reasonable challenge. Gets the ball, but in getting the ball, he goes through the player. That player being Blanco. Okay, yellow card. I get it. It was yellow-ish. Like I don't think it was really a red card, but it was a hard foul. It was careless. It wasn't endangering the safety of the player. Fast forward to the moment. If you look at where Blanco was and you look at where Kai was, the ball pops out to this. It's basically towards the edge of the box. Kai's gonna take a touch. He's taking the touch. As he takes the touch, ball's past him. Blanco comes from, I'm gonna say, like 10 to 15 yards. He came from a pretty significant distance. Comes in hot, and bam! Without hesitation, doesn't look for the ball, doesn't track the ball, goes through the player. Kai flips. Luckily, he landed on his back. Like it could have been bad. The ref, Blanco's about to get up, and the Union, without hesitation. That's one thing I like about this team. They're not going to take any shit. Glesnes comes right over,
I loved it, man.
knocks Blanco right on his ass. And that's
Right.
when shit goes south. Now, the ref had already pulled out the yellow. I instantly, in my mind, before everything happened, was going, I'm sorry, what? Like, this is ridiculous. Then, if you're looking at it, this one guy, this tiny guy, remember, Glesnes is what, like 6'6", 6'5", 6'6"? He's a big dude.
Man's yo.
You had one dude who looked like he was trying to like forearm shiver the back of Glesnes' head. Then he tries to like shut, like this guy tries to do several things, and Glesnes is unfazed, does not even bother. He's getting in Blanco's face, and again, you know that tough guy look where you're not really a tough guy, but you're hoping someone's hold me back. I got you. That was basically a lot of the Saprissa, because not only did you have some of these, I mean, you had this one dude basically shoved the ref over, and I'm like, where's his card? And then,
of course, El Brujo gets involved as well somehow.
And my favorite part was you looked, and like all the substitutes and even some of the trainers are getting involved. And eventually, once this is settling down, like Bedoya is trying to talk to the ref, like asking him why there isn't a card. And you look at it and go, and you look at the trainer, and he's probably telling the trainer, get the F off the field. Like,
that's
you're
crazy,
part of the problem here. So I think the situation was mismanaged, and I think the ref, in all honesty, was awful. I really don't think he should ref another CCL game. Poorly mismanaged. Did not control the game. Allowed it to escalate. If he had the biggest thing early on is the ref's job, the center ref's job is to control the tempo of the game. You are in there to set the ground rules. So players know, okay, this is a foul, this isn't, this is maybe a yellow card. You have to have distinct lines. This ref just went, maybe I feel like blowing my whistle, maybe I don't. Like, it was so poorly mismanaged that the Matt Real foul was essentially the first real situation where it was potentially a card. But that was the problem. That was the initial situation. So, like, it's just genuinely mind blowing that the refs allowed it to even get to that situation, because it was, again, clearly mismanaged. I'm sorry, 100% mismanaged. And I really hope that ref does not ref another game in CCL, because that was just awful.
I agree with you. I'm so sorry to make a sound while you were talking. As of right now, Portland just went up. Yemini Charra with, as we like to say in Colombia, un absolute crack of a golazo. Yeah. It was a nice one. And Portland is up now 1-0 on Marathon. Marathon, they were creeping up a little bit. They were getting a little dangerous, but Portland goes up early, which is good. We root for MLS teams in CCL. Not an MLS play, but in CCL we do.
Yeah, there's a few players you don't want to leave alone in the middle of the box, and Yimi Chara is one of them.
He almost just won another one.
He had that spot picked out like 5 minutes before that ball came in. That was a good goal.
That was definitely a good goal. But what was your take, Tim, on this crazy mess that was the final couple minutes?
Yeah, obviously my first thought was, I mean, it's a straight red card just to the actual play, and Justin did a good job of talking about the differences between the Union's foul earlier on and then the foul on Wagner.
Right.
For the actual play with Wagner, he did have that outlet. He had the sideline. He made one touch on the ball already. He was past the defender, and he was running in super late, 2-footed slide. It's a textbook red card. The way that he hit him, the way all of it is just, it's a red card. Ref was hasty with the yellow, not thinking about where he was in the match. It was so late on that obviously there's going to be a scrum after a tackle like that. It happens in even friendlies like that sort of tackle is like people are just they're going to run into each other. I'm surprised there actually weren't more like punches or shivs thrown in there. But hey, it was a crazy time. I'm lucky, or I'm happy that the Union didn't get more cards because it could have been
Right.
Saprisa's plan there was, this team's going to beat us right now. We'll get them, on a yellow card scare for the next game, and they might not come in on some tackles or something like that.
So what we have Jamiro, Jakob, and what's his face? Real with yellow cards, right?
Yeah.
Gotcha. So those guys need to keep it clean for tomorrow. But guys, I mean, I agree. See, for me, I understand like where the Saprissa fans are coming from when it comes to the Matt Real stuff. For me, the Matt Real tackle was a definite yellow card, and I don't disagree there. For me, the Ricardo Blanco tackle, definite red card. To me, it was like it was a little more dangerous. Like, come on, he maybe flipped Kai Wagner. So that's kind of where I stand on that. But I mean, look, overall, you can't be mad at this result. I mean, we won our first international game. We win, and it was definitely fantastic to see. But I'm excited, man. But so obviously the great win, but now it's not done. Kind of like what Jim said, like these games are like a full game, right? It's like the first game, leg one was the first half, leg two is going to be the second half here, and tomorrow, I mean, the name of the game is just not losing, really not losing, not allowing way goals. Really, the way goals are really what's going to kill you. I mean, we're really in a good spot right now because of our away goal. But pretty much defense. But I don't want to play like a conservative style of soccer if you know kind of what I mean. But Tim, do you have the injury report right for tomorrow?
Yeah, so Jim Curtin talked in his press conference today and gave a lot of updates on players. First off, he mentioned Kai Wagner. Wagner's been fully healthy the entire time, so that tackle did not hurt him one bit. Even saw, following the team closely, watching players' Instagram stories. Like the Union flew home after the match. They got in at like 5 a.m. our time, and Kai Wagner was walking home. So he was fine then. He wasn't in any kind of bad shape there. He trained all week and he looks good. Obviously, he's going to be the starter at left back. The big update is that Sergio Santos is available for the match, the striker. So now we have two healthy strikers that play. And Jim said that when Santos is healthy, he will always be in the 18 no matter what. So that kind of has me thinking that Jim is leaning more towards starting him rather than just having him on the bench. I think we'll kind of see and talk a little bit about tactics on what you'd want to do. Obviously, the start of the MLS season's this weekend too. So do you save him for that? Do you play him in this game that could, make or break your CONCACAF Champions League hopes here? But yeah, so that's who are good to go. Corey Burke, Elsinho are both still out, and they won't be able to play in CCL or it seems like in the MLS opener this weekend either. They're hoping to have them back by next week for the first home MLS game of the year.
Hey, that's pretty good news. Absolutely. Yeah. Did you get that Saprissa news as well?
Yes. So there was a lot of stuff going on.
Crazy crap went down there.
They have a lot of injuries in their team already. They have positive COVID cases. And then there was also some issues with teams coming from Costa Rica to the United States for the second legs of CONCACAF Champions League. Saprissa are going to have at least 3 starters from last game who aren't able to travel because of those issues, I believe. Which is kind of crazy because I mean the Union players were down there. They played them last week and they're all able to play. But it is what it is. It's the life of COVID and the teams knew about it. So it sucks that Saprissa won't be able to field a full squad of what they could field. I mean, obviously they still have players who would have been out regardless of these travel issues. But now they won't have 3 more starters because of players who can't even travel with the team because of the different issues with coming to America during COVID. So it's crazy. It seems like Saprissa will be very short-handed, but that doesn't mean that the Union should take them lightly. And I don't think they will. Philly has shown, at least in the last year or two, that They tend to not play down to their competition like some other Philly sports teams that we.
Tim
So,
throwing shots.
I
Okay.
mean, hey, I love all the Philly sports teams. I wish they didn't. Do
No,
that.
I appreciate that.
It is what it is right now. But the Union, I think they'll know that they have the advantage with those players who are out, and they'll show it on the field. So.
Absolutely. I mean, that's definitely what we all worry about. But so let's talk about a potential lineup then. Like we got some good news there. Obviously, Saprissa, listen, the Union got themselves a good situation. They are dealing with so much adversity on and off the pitch. It is definitely suited for the Union, but obviously you play these matches on the pitch. So let's make sure they get that done. So let's look at a potential lineup here. So, gentlemen, I don't think we would disagree with our goalie, right?
No.
We would say it'd be.
It's to the point where Andre Blake has been playing with the Union so long that when I write down a lineup in a notebook, I don't even put down goalkeeper because I know
it's such a hot take, guys. I don't know if we should say it.
I think Matt Free should start. I'm just kidding.
Joe Bendick gets no respect.
No respect. The only good thing he ever did was carry that cooler of beers onto the field when they won the Shield. That was
my God, that's the only thing he did for the season. We still have Greg, right? Greg, the name I'm not going to say, right?
Yeah, he's the fourth goalkeeper. Yeah,
I'm sure he'll be somewhere in the. Hey, maybe he'll be the unknown player walking to the bathroom, during the game. As people spotted during the DC.
Oh my God. All right. Back line, which actually I had a good comment in here. Give me 2 seconds. So Craze Reese wants to know, do you think Finley will start? Now, Tim mentioned a really good point about we do have a game on Sunday. We open up our MLS season. Could this be a place for him to be in there? I
think possibly for Glesnes, because I think if you're going in with the mindset that you believe you're going to advance and you have to worry about yellow card accumulation, you might wonder if it need be, it might be interesting. I'm not 100% sure, but there's a decent chance he could. I wouldn't see why not.
That's why we pay Justin the big bucks there, man.
Well, given the game on Sunday, I really think there's a good chance you could see some rotation.
That right there, I mean, that's a very good point. Like he did get a yellow card. I mean, you don't want to risk the point of Jakob. You want to have these three guys disposable for you, right? You want to make sure you have Elliot, Glesnes, and Finley ready at any time. So that's definitely going to be a question. I want to say that we will start Finley for Glesnes. I do like that, and I think Jim thinks like that as well. And potentially we'll see Elliot and Glesnes back on Sunday. But what do you think as far as center backs go?
I think that Elliot and Glesnes are going to continue the partnership against. It worked away. It'll work even better at home. And I think that Elliot and Glesnes are the guys this season. Finlay is a great signing, but I think he fills the role that Elliot had last year when Mark McKenzie was on the team. And when you have that third center back that is good, when you need to call on that person, then you're going to be fine. But I don't think right now, with the start of the MLS season coming and the weight that this game still holds, I think you play Elliot and Glesnes as the two center backs because of that, learning that partnership in a real meaningful game in front of the home fans. Neither of them are going to want to miss that. And I think they'll still play against the Crew as well on Sunday, because while Jim does favor his depth at times, he's also shown that if he has a good center back pairing, he's going to roll them out.
That's true.
10 times out of 10.
Run it into the ground.
Yes. Well, if he likes them, if he likes them, he will run them into the ground. That is very true. Got more to do.
The man did play the position, so he knows best.
100%. learned under one of the best things that come out of New Jersey, Bob Bradley.
He didn't want to say, probably one of the best American coaches of all time. No, he's just from Jersey. Yeah, just from.
Hey! I would see. Yeah. One of the best things that come out of Jersey since pork roll. That's right, Alexis. I said it.
We said pork roll.
Pork roll. That's the product, not Taylor Ham, the brand.
The next Union NYCFC preview, we're not even going to talk about the
I'm
match.
gonna
We're just going to debate pork roll
It's
versus
going to be it
Taylor.
the whole time, and I'm just going to be here sitting like, when are we going to talk about soccer?
Yeah, I'm gonna get that out, and he's gonna call me. Yo,
No, Tim's just going to be eating a
North?
sandwich. Like, you guys need to stop arguing and enjoy this.
I'm just going to eat a cheesesteak. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Alexis could be like,
Jersey kids are weird.
yo, fam, what would it catch me outside in Newark with that pork roll talk?
Oh man! All right. So back to picking the fullbacks here. No, pork roll won't be starting at fullback, but I mean, guys, really, it's Wagner and Mbaizo, right? Like,
yeah.
I
think I'm excited too.
Before
obvious and Mbaizo, it's with his play, he deserves the start, and given that he hasn't played as much over the last few seasons, this is his position to lose.
Right.
So at this point, if he keeps playing well, just keep him in there. Yeah.
And I'd have to say, before the last CCL match, I thought Nate Harriel, the homegrown, might start over Mbaizo based on some recent performances. But Curtin gave it to Mbaizo, and like Justin said, Mbaizo earned it by playing so well, getting those crosses in, showing what he has there. And yeah, he'll have to keep his play up because that homegrown is on his heels to get his starting minutes.
Bro, it's Mbaizo.
It's not.
No, I was making fun of his they got him all mic'd up, and he doesn't not stop saying bro, from my understanding.
He did say that. Yeah.
Bro.
I'm sure it's one of the first English words he learned, bro.
Oh, really? Okay, that's good to know.
Funny.
Bro said a lot, so let's be honest.
I do agree. I mean, like Mbaizo, and this is good. This is why I love competition all throughout the pitch. You know, as long as Harrell is playing well and pushing Mbaizo, we're gonna get the best out of Mbaizo. I will say I want to see a clean defensive game from him. There was some times where I felt like tracking back wasn't as strong, but I think he will get those kinks out. Listen, if he could play with Ray Gaddis's heart, man, we got ourselves two good fullbacks. I'm telling you. And
so,
I hope,
Johnny, what you're saying is you're hoping, as the English broadcaster would say, he puts in a shift. Which is one of the biggest. It's not my favorite terminology, but it is always whatever the English media say when a player doesn't score goals or doesn't have assists. He puts in a shift. Which just means he just runs all over the field. It's like what Jordan Henderson does. It's like he puts in a shift.
But yeah, no, but like in all seriousness, like if Mbaizo's gonna learn anything from Ray Gaddis, that it's that hard work that Gaddis had, and guys, that man, like I said, being able to have the ability to attack from either side. Those teams that like to park the bus on us, no more. So I'm excited. The midfield is where it gets interesting, boys. So obviously we had the surprise of Leon Flack getting his first start, which was, I think we can all agree, was great to see.
Yeah,
watching him play his first minutes with the Union. I guess I'll start with, because this one's really interesting. I'll start with you, Tim. What do you see this midfield looking like?
So part of me thought that Jim would just roll out the same lineup in Costa Rica last week. But then with the Sergio Santos news and him being in the 18 and possibly starting, it kind of made me think that Jim is going to go all out for this win here. Obviously, the start to the MLS season is very important to the Union as well, but this could be their first ever, quarterfinal of the CONCACAF Champions League and their first ever time there. So I think that he moves around the diamond in the midfield. You see Jamiro Montero move back to the shuttler position. You see Anthony Fontana move to his preferred number 10 position. Obviously, Alejandro Bedoya is going to be on the right, and Operujo is going to be at that 6. And I think you have the midfield diamond that is your first choice for the Union in this win-or-go-home match here.
Ooh, interesting. What about you, Justin? What do you think about this midfield?
See, I don't know, because the whole Sergio Santos thing does bring in some interesting twists. I think I'm gonna go similarly to Tim, with one distinct change, and
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure.
Say it.
But
I know what you're gonna say. Say
It
it.
would be a really interesting twist. So you're gonna
I know
have
what you want to
obviously you're gonna say Brujo at the 6. You're gonna have Bedoya as the right shuttler. You're gonna have Fontana as the 10.
Ooh.
And then, I think he keeps Leon in the left shuttler position.
Oh, that's not what I thought you were gonna say.
It's an the reason why I consider it is because if you're going all out, I do love Jamiro. And Jamiro brings a lot of that thing. But it's how well did you play? And Leon played
Yeah.
really well for his first shift, having been there not even a week, maybe a week and a half for training. Like he didn't get a whole lot of training in, and he looked great.
Yeah.
So I like to think that how you play determines if you're in the lineup. And it's not that Jamiro played bad. It's just Leon played so good.
You're right.
That like having him at the left and then having Fontana, up top, I feel like that just creates, and of course you could bring on Jamiro late. Bring on Jamiro as a 65th minute sub. Like I kind of wonder if that's a possibility. Now, I think realistically, you're going to have Jamiro in there, but I feel like it would be if you're going to go all out attacking. I do wonder if throwing Leon in on that left side would be the better call.
You guys really throw some interesting points out here. Midfield really is the main question mark. I do think obviously Brujo's going to be there at 6. Ali's going to be there at the right shuttle midfielder. That's like the staples. It's the left shuttle midfielder, the 10, is like what is Jim thinking? Justin, I really thought you were going to say Paxton was going to start. I really thought you were thinking that.
After the whole thing with him not even being on the bench, I'm hoping he's at least in the 18.
Right. I hope so too, man. But yeah, so I think that Leon will be the same midfield. I think it'll be Leon at the left. I think it'll be Jamiro at that 10. Only because I do think that Jamiro is a little bit more sound defensively than Fontana. I would think it would be Fontana going back at the 10. But I think Jamiro is gonna run with it at the 10, and then we'll have Leon again. Again, like I said, I was really impressed with Leon as well. Love to see what he can do with the home crowd behind him. And this midfield should be fun. And, obviously you have options here. If you still have Font, you still have Paxton. I don't think Jim is really rushing to get Paxton starting out there if he doesn't need to. He's going to have plenty of time. I mean, the dude's like, 17? Like, oh man's not even done puberty yet. Like, let's let him get up through that, and then we'll start rushing him out there in the starting 11. But that's where I think the midfield is going to go. The forwards is really interesting as well. I mean, I think we can all agree Casper will probably more likely get the start. It's who's going to run with him. Like, will Font run back with him? Will we see Sergio get put in there? Maybe Paxton. Justin, what do you think? Who's running with Casper, man?
I think I'm going to go with Tim. I think Sergio starts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then what I think you could see happen, because in my lineup, you have Fontana in there. I think Sergio could go, say, again, that 60 to 65 minutes.
Yeah.
Then you pull him off. You pull him off for Jamiro or Paxton, and you move it back to a 4-2-3-1.
Ooh.
And so, again, it all depends. If Jamiro comes in instead of Flack, or you have the same midfield and you have Flack on the left and Jamiro up top, I think then you do the same substitution, and it still is a 4-2-3-1. So either way, I think that sub, if you can get a goal in the first half, you then create a 2-0 deficit. You then create a situation where they're going to have to be more attacking. So then you can settle into a 4-2-3-1 and kind of get a good base and occasionally have El Brujo drop. So really, it's a 5-4-1 if you're looking at it realistically. And so that's why I think overall It wouldn't surprise me if Sergio started, but I don't think he's not going to go the full 90, and he never really did. So if you're up in this game, you're going to see a more defensive. I mean, you could see even putting on a Cole Turner or a
Finley
or an Orvet, something more defensive that you're gonna have. I mean, again, there are a lot of options, and we won't know obviously until. My hope is that they're up at that point, so that they can roll a slightly more defensive, substitution basis. But who knows? I am hopeful for this game, but I'm not overlooking Saprissa just because they're down. Because
right.
You if you don't want to
learn our lesson, Justin.
Yeah, you don't want a wounded animal is more likely to to lash out and strike. And my concern is that Union take it take a play off, and next thing you know, Saprissa's got that away goal, and now it's tied on aggregate.
Right.
Like I want them to be on the forefront like they were in the first leg, and hit them early. Try to hit them early. If you can hit them in the first 20 minutes, that'd be huge.
Just do what Portland's doing right now. Portland up 2-0 now.
Oh my god, 2 goals from Yimi Chara. Oh my god, man.
Yeah.
See, Ernst Tanner, see what us Colombians can do, man. We can score goals. Come on, man. But no, I think that it's definitely interesting. Like, I would love to see Sergio out there, but a part of me is like, I mean, why not have him off the bench? I think that Fontana is going to get the start again, even though it was awkward. I won't lie. It was awkward seeing him out there at the forward with Kasper Shabilko. He was pretty quiet as well. Like, he really didn't even get to touch the ball that much.
Yeah.
But just run with that. Worst comes to worst, I think Sergio and Paxton will be on the bench instead of Quinn Sullivan and Jack McGlynn. And I think that there'll be 2 good options there off the bench. But you gave yourself that 1-0, right? You're going to come in here, like Justin said, you got to start off quick. You pounce on them quickly. And then you won't even need to have Sergio Santos out there. So I think that's kind of where I'm leaning towards, where as far as the lineup goes, going up here. But like you said, even though they're shorthanded, even though we're up 1-0, even though we're going to have a home crowd behind us, guys, remember, it was literally like 6 months ago. We saw the Union, who had the number 1 seed in the playoffs in the first round, got upsetted by the New England Revolution. That is why I believe that the Union are not going to come into this game overlooking Saprissa.
Right.
Jim is mentioning that first playoff game, the one we lost to get New England. He's mentioning that New England match. Yeah. These guys tomorrow are going to come hungry, ready to play against this team. I'm so excited. It's going to be crazy. We also had the comment, guys. The 3 here on this panel will be down there in Chester. We will all be down there. We'll be doing some coverage down there as well. We'll actually have Zach Labasso in the media box. So we're gonna be covering it from every single angle we possibly can. The only thing is we can't get in the dressing room. If we were allowed to get in the dressing room, we would have someone in there.
Zach will be in there for post game.
He'll be there for post game. He'll be, but he can't get in there.
Well, virtually, they'll be doing virtual pressers.
Right.
But it's fine.
That's right. See, we're trying to get Zach there for that inspirational halftime speech. Jim always has, but they weren't allowing Zach in there, so we definitely were trying. Before we sign off, guys, I want to get your predictions. Tim, start off here. What do you think's gonna happen in this match, and give me that prediction, man?
Yeah, I think while the Union won't overlook Saprissa, they're going to field their best starting 11 that they have. And I do think that includes Sergio Santos as a starter. And I think that this team, playing their first home game since that New England loss, are going to be so hungry to show fans, and more fans that were that were there in November when they lost, that they're for real. And I think the Union find a way to get a first half goal and be up 1-0 at halftime. And then after that is the gamesmanship of, okay, you can, if you're comfortable at like the 60th minute, you pull off Santos because that's a really good shift for him coming off of injury. You maybe bring in Fontana, or you bring in, Flock, or however you say his name.
We'll figure it out, guys. We'll figure it out.
To shut things down defensively. I really like how Justin said that they could shift to a 4-2-3-1. If you think of Brujo next to Flock in that two pivot positions there, that has me a little excited. But I think the Union find a way to win again, 1-0, and they move on, and it's all good.
What about you, Justin, man?
I was saying this. I've been debating the score all day, but I think, as I said, I think they set the tone early. I think they get that early first half goal, and I think in the second half, I think Saprissa is gonna get desperate. They're gonna make a lot more attacking subs.
Yeah.
So they're gonna leave a lot of space open. And the Union, that one of the things they do best, and they showed it in the second half. They didn't have as much possession, but they did great on the counterattack.
Yeah.
And I think in middle of that second half, I'm going to say like 75th, 80th minute, I think when, they may have shifted to a 4-2-3-1, or in certain cases, if they're shifting potentially back, you could go even to a 5-4-1 and spring on the counter. I think Saprissa leaves themselves open. Union spring on the counter. You have Casper dunking on Saprissa once again, and I think they come out of here with a 2-0 result, and I think they put their stamp on it, and they say, Atlanta, we'll see you next round.
Oh snap! Justin already calling him out. Okay. Fireworks, ladies and gentlemen. Now look, guys, tomorrow, like I've mentioned already enough times, it's going to be electric. We're going to be loud. It's going to feel like we're full crowd. But I do think this team is going to be ready. I trust Jim. He always gets these guys ready, especially in a tournament-like style here. I think it's important to start off quick. Like we talked about, I think it's important for this team to start off quick, get that early goal. Second half, I think if we still have the lead as the aggregate I could see we go into a 5-back set, but I think it's really important to just stick to the game plan. Getting that high press and pressuring these guys. You're gonna have some backups in there for Saprissa, so definitely take care of business. I think we're gonna walk. I think it's gonna be a 1-1. I think it's gonna be a 1-1 draw. Actually, I do think it's gonna be a 1-1 draw, but it definitely that gets you through. That gets you to the next round. And yes, we'll be. If we move on, we'll be ready for Atlanta. That is definitely for sure. Guys, that was another episode of DOOP by the River. Like I mentioned, we'll be down there at Subaru Park covering everything, and then we'll actually be back on Thursday. We'll be back on Thursday. We'll get a confirmation time. We'll give that out to you tonight. But on Thursday, what we'll do is we're going to recap tomorrow's match, and we're also going to look ahead at Sunday's match against the Columbus Crew. As guys, now we're in the MLS season. We're also going to preview a little bit of the MLS as well. So Thursday is going to be a fun-packed episode. Guys, Tim, any last words for guests or our listeners before we sign off?
No, I'm just excited about the CCL match. We're finally getting into MLS as well. This week I've kind of been going on a deep dive of every MLS team and kind of picking up their strengths and weaknesses. So go check those out on Philly Sports Network. I have the Eastern Conference and the Western Conference both up now. You can kind of take a look at how every team is kind of building themselves up for the 2021 season, including their rosters and things like that. So it's a little bit fun to do. And then at the end of the week here, I know you just said we're going to have another pod where we kind of go over some of our predictions. I try to do this every year, and COVID kind of threw a wrench into it last year, but there will be up on Philly Sports Network at the end of the week or the weekend, an article where fans can predict the Union's points and other things like that. Hey, look at that. There's the first article right there. But so if you're interested in making your predictions like we're going to make our predictions, maybe we'll have a little bit of DOOP by the River swag we could give out by the end of the season. We might have something in the
yes,
or at least some Philly Sports Network swag, if not DOOP by the River. So be on the lookout for that as well. And
So-
let's go Union.
Yeah, so this is definitely, guys. So I'm showing you it. Definitely give this article a check out for sure, guys. Definitely some good stuff from our boy Tim. As I try to get back here. Cool, awesome. What about you, Justin? Justin, are you ready for tomorrow, my man?
Absolutely.
No, but are you really ready for tomorrow?
You're gonna blow out his ears again. He doesn't even have him in.
I think it's going to be a really interesting time. First of all, I'm going to be really glad to be back.
Dude, for you.
If you see me around, which this big bald head is not hard to spot. Wave, come say hi.
Make sure you keep it warm though.
It's gonna be.
Do we have a weather report? Because I keep hearing conflicting.
It's supposed to be like 60. I heard 65, 66. So it's supposed to be moderate night.
Nice. Cloudy. Yeah. Not
Cloudy,
rainy.
but it'll be a moderate night.
Cloudy with a chance of DOOP.
Yes.
And no, come say hi. I might be doing a tiny bit of tailgating before the game.
Hey now.
But no, I am fully ready. It has been too long since I've been in the Union Stadium to see a game, and
I know it's gonna be special for you, Justin.
It's gonna mean a lot, considering how much I really wanted last year to go, but I waited till I was vaccinated. I made sure I was being careful, and I've still been careful. But I'm going to be so happy to be back because, I love my Union family. I love you. I love you guys. I love all our fans, and I just soccer has been such a big part of my life. It's something that I love watching this sport that I've put so much time and energy into. That it's gonna. Excuse me if I get a tiny bit emotional tomorrow when I'm back in the stadium. So.
Hey man, I think I've shed enough tears at that stadium, so it's all good. It's all good, man. So guys, yeah, so we'll all be down there. Clearly we're all excited, and it's going to be a great night. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to listen to this again, this will be wherever you stream your podcasts. This will be on Apple, Google, Spotify, all that good stuff. Make sure to subscribe and rate. A nice little rating would be great. We would definitely appreciate that as well. Definitely, guys, if you are tuning in on El Parcero Philly's YouTube channel, make sure to like and subscribe. And if you're following DOOP by the River podcast, thank you so much. But please, if you aren't, definitely make sure to hit the follow button. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Tim Lovinguth, and that is Justin Freiberg. I go by the name of El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to DOOP on. Let's go, you on, baby.